Cooper smiled, but a glint in his eyes hinted at sharp questions to come. Johnny, great to see you. Your new film, it's something special. It's about battling personal demons, right? How did you prepare for the role? He began neutrally. Depp nodded, leaning back comfortably. Yeah, it's a story about a man finding himself after loss. I drew from my own experiences, court battles, media pressure, all the things that make us vulnerable. The audience murmured, sensing a reference to his high-profile legal battle with ex-wife Amber Heard. Collins chimed in, that sounds inspiring. The film's already getting rave reviews. But the atmosphere shifted quickly. Cooper leaned forward, his smile sharpening. Speaking of vulnerability, Johnny, your court battles dominated headlines. You won the defamation case, but some say it's not over. Critics argue you use your status to dodge accountability for your actions. Isn't it hypocritical to play a victim on screen when you've been accused of abuse in real life? The studio fell silent. The audience gasped, some covering their mouths. Collins blinked, visibly uncomfortable, and muttered, Anderson, maybe we should stick to the film, but Cooper pressed on, his motive clear: boost ratings by diving into the scandal that hadn't fully faded. Depp froze for a moment, his smirk fading. He clenched his fist on his knee, but his voice remained steady. Anderson, I came here to talk about art, not the past. The court ruled, I'm innocent. It was painful, but I'm moving forward. The audience split, some nodded in support, others whispered skeptically. Producers backstage scrambled, one signaling the camera operator to hold a close-up. The cameras hummed, capturing every facial expression. Cooper didn't back down. But Johnny, you say the film is inspired by your experiences. So why avoid the conversation? Viewers want the truth. You're an icon, but your fans deserve honesty. Isn't this just a way to monetize your scandal? His sarcasm was palpable, as if testing Depp's limits. Depp took a deep breath, his eyes darkening. I'm not monetizing pain. I'm turning it into art. That's the difference. Collins tried to intervene, let's not get too personal. Johnny, tell us about the filming process. But the tension was already mounting. The audience whispered louder, some pulling out phones to record. The escalation continued. Cooper, sensing he'd struck a nerve, pushed further. The truth is, many see you not as a victim but as someone hiding behind roles. Your court testimony: alcohol, drugs, anger. Don't you think it's hypocritical to play heroes battling demons when that's your reality? His tone sharpened, as if daring Depp to snap. The studio filled with silence, broken only by the click of a security guard's heels as they stepped closer. Depp leaned forward, his voice trembling slightly but controlled. Depp's voice, though steady, carried a quiet intensity. Anderson, you're digging into a wound that's already been judged and closed. I've been open about my struggles, addiction, pain, mistakes. But I'm not here to be your punching bag for ratings. His words were measured, but the slight tremble in his hands betrayed the storm inside. The audience murmured, some nodding in sympathy, others exchanging skeptical glances. A woman in the front row clutched her phone, recording every second. Cooper, undeterred, leaned back with a sly grin. Johnny, come on. You're a master at crafting an image, Jack Sparrow, the tortured artist. But when does the image end and the truth begin? Your fans want to know, are you the hero you play, or the villain some say you are? The jab was deliberate, a calculated mix of journalistic probing and tabloid sensationalism. The audience gasped again, louder this time. Collins interjected, her voice tight, Anderson, let's talk about the film's impact. Johnny, how do you hope it resonates with viewers? But her attempt to steer the conversation fell flat. Cooper's eyes stayed fixed on Depp, waiting for a crack. Depp's jaw tightened, his fingers drumming lightly on the armrest. You want truth? Here's the truth, I've lived through hell, publicly, privately. I've owned my flaws. But I don't owe you or anyone a confession to prove my worth. This film isn't about me playing a hero, it's about showing that even broken people can create something beautiful. His voice rose slightly, carrying a raw edge that silenced the studio. A few audience members clapped softly, but others sat frozen, unsure whether to cheer or judge. A producer signaled security to stand by, sensing the rising heat. Cooper, unfazed, pushed harder. "That's a great story, Johnny, but let's be real. Your comeback, new film, new image, it's convenient timing after a messy trial. Some say you're using art to dodge accountability. Isn't that just a clever PR move?" The accusation landed like a slap. The studio fell deathly quiet, save for the faint buzz of a camera panning to capture Depp's reaction. Collins whispered, "Anderson, enough," but he ignored her, his gaze locked on his guest. Depp stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. The audience gasped, phones raised high. His eyes burned with a mix of anger and resolve. "You know what, Anderson? I came here to talk about art, about healing, about moving forward. But you're not interested in that. You want a circus. Well, I'm not your clown." His voice cracked with emotion, but his stance was firm, radiating a quiet dignity. He turned to the audience, his expression softening. "This film isn't about my past. It's about redemption, something we all deserve a shot at. If you want to judge me, fine. But don't judge the work before you see it." The studio erupted in a mix of applause and stunned whispers. Cooper, caught off guard, opened his mouth to respond, but Depp wasn't done. "You sit there, throwing stones, thinking it's journalism. But it's not. It's cruelty dressed up as truth. I've fought too hard to let you reduce my life to headlines." He unclipped his microphone, letting it dangle, and walked toward the exit. The click of his boots echoed in the silent studio. Security hesitated, unsure whether to follow. Collins, wide-eyed, stammered, "Johnny, wait," but he didn't stop. As Depp reached the edge of the stage, he paused, turning back to the audience. "Thank you for your support," he said softly, his voice carrying a raw vulnerability. "And to anyone out there fighting their own battles, keep going. Don't let anyone tell you who you are." The audience burst into applause, some standing, others wiping tears. A few booed, siding with Cooper's probing. The cameras swiveled wildly, capturing every angle of the chaotic moment. Cooper, visibly shaken but trying to regain control, forced a smile. "Well, folks, that's live TV. We'll be right back after the break." The feed cut to commercial, but the studio remained in chaos, producers shouting, audience members arguing, and phones lighting up with recordings destined for social media. The moment was already going viral. The studio was a frozen tableau as Johnny Depp's boots echoed off the stage, his silhouette disappearing into the shadows of the CNN set. The audience was a mix of stunned silence and fervent whispers, some still clapping, others furiously typing on their phones, uploading clips to X and TikTok. Anderson Cooper sat rigid, his forced smile cracking as the reality of the moment sank in. Caitlin Collins, wide-eyed, tried to salvage the situation. "Well, folks, that was intense. Let's take a quick break," she said, her voice unsteady. The cameras cut to commercial, but the chaos lingered. Producers barked orders, security hovered uncertainly, and the audience buzzed with divided reactions. Some shouted, "Go, Johnny," while others murmured about Cooper's tough but fair questions. Backstage, Depp paused briefly, his shoulders tense but his expression resolute. A young production assistant approached, offering a bottle of water, but he waved it off with a polite nod. "I'm good," he said softly, his voice carrying the weight of someone who'd faced worse storms. He slipped out a side exit, avoiding the paparazzi already gathering outside. The moment he left, the internet exploded. Clips of his speech, raw, vulnerable, defiant, spread like wildfire. "Johnny Depp walks off Anderson Cooper 360-degree" trended on X within minutes. With hashtags like #JohnnySpeaks and #Cooper crossed the line. Fans praised his dignity, critics called it a tantrum. Memes juxtaposed Depp's calm exit with Cooper's flustered expression. In the studio, Cooper regained his composure as the show resumed. "We aim to ask hard questions here," he said, addressing the audience with a strained chuckle. "Sometimes they hit a nerve. Let's move on to our next segment." But the damage was done. The audience's applause was tepid, and Collins, visibly uncomfortable, kept her comments brief. Behind the scenes, producers scrambled to manage the fallout, knowing the clip would dominate news cycles. One whispered to another, "This is going viral, but not the way we planned." The aftermath was seismic. By morning, every major outlet, Variety, TMZ, BBC, ran stories on the confrontation. Some painted Depp as a principled artist standing up to media sensationalism, others accused him of dodging accountability. On X, fans shared edits of his speech set to dramatic music, while detractors posted threads analyzing Cooper's questions as necessary journalism. The film Depp was promoting, once a quiet indie project, surged in attention, with ticket pre-sales spiking. But the narrative wasn't just about Depp or Cooper, it became a broader debate about privacy, redemption, and the line between journalism and exploitation. Depp himself stayed silent, letting the work speak. His team released a brief statement. Johnny is grateful for the support and encourages audiences to see the film, which reflects his belief in second chances. Cooper, meanwhile, faced backlash for crossing into cruelty, though some defended his provocative style as essential for truth. The incident reshaped their public images. Depp emerged as a flawed but resilient figure, while Cooper's reputation as a sharp journalist took a hit for appearing vindictive. As the dust settled, the moment left a lasting question: where is the line between holding someone accountable and tearing them down? Depp's words about redemption, art, and refusing to be defined resonated with those fighting their own battles, from personal struggles to public scrutiny. The clash wasn't just a TV spectacle, it was a mirror to society's obsession with judgment over understanding. What do you think? Was Depp right to walk off, defending his dignity? Or did Cooper have a point in pressing for answers? Share your thoughts in the comments and let's keep the conversation going.